Hey, folks, how you doing? This is the Views Express Live, right here on the Free America Radio Network for Friday, the 18th of April, 2014. Lots of things going on, lots of things happening. Oh, what can I say? So many things going on right now. There's so many. Holy crap. I have no clue at this point. This is the 18th of April, 2014. I'm your host, Reverend Wayne S. Pierce. Yeah, we need to get Harry Reid out of office. We need to do whatever we need to do to make his exit from political office expedient. And I'll tell you why. If you have someone that tells you that patriots and people who support patriots are terrorists, yeah, that's a time to rethink your chosen poster boy that you've voted into office. Harry Reid is trash, he's criminal, and he's treasonous. And he needs to be recalled. And from certain points of view, he has to be arrested and charged with treason against the United States of America. Now that's a strong phrase. Strong charge against someone, specifically a political figure in today's government of the United States of America. But I gotta tell you, it's the truth. I've seen every aspect of this whole thing in Bunkerville, Nevada with the Bundy Ranch. I've seen everything from both sides. From state-run media to the independent media. And I gotta tell you, I'm seeing a federal employee, a senator, literally become a turncoat. And he's showing his true colors. What do you do with a politician like that? What do you do with a politician like that? Well, you're going to have to decide that on your own. The thing that I know is, well, I know I'll be back right after this, and we'll get into more stuff. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook and fill yourself in on what I'm going to be talking about. Be right back after this. Want to know what's happening all around us? You do? Great! Come check out the Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show, Friday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com. Have a nice trip. See you next fall. Attending their daughter's wedding in South Africa promised to be a vacation of a lifetime. But first, they had to face the treacherous gauntlet known as modern-day travel. Waiting for them on the other side of the world are an honest-to-goodness safari with amorous lions and elephants with anger issues, a life-affirming visit to a South African school, and an anxious bride and groom standing patiently at the airport with a sign that reads, "What took you so long?" The answers lie within the pages of Please Hold Thumbs, a not-so-round trip to South Africa, a true tale of turbulence and triumph from travel mug Scott Cherney, author of Red Asphalt. Available at Amazon.com in paperback and on the Kindle.
This is Michael Vera with Late Night in the Midlands, and you're listening to the Views Expressed live with your host, Reverend Wayne Pierce, on the Free America Radio Network.
Hey, folks, how you doing? How you doing? This is the Views Express live right here for the 18th of April, 2014. How are ya? I am your host, Reverend Wayne S. Spears. Hey, if you're listening to me on freeamericaradio.us, thank you. Cruise around the site. Help out Free America Radio Network by purchasing stuff at the store or donating. That would be cool. Thank you very much. And if you're listening to me on wakingupthemasses.com on the live broadcast section there, hello all. How are ya? Now, I keep telling you folks over at Waking Up the Masses to email me because I want to know if you hear me. As a matter of fact, that's for everybody. I want to know where you are from and all of that. Also, I want to give a big shout out to those in the Chickamauga, Georgia area listening to me on the AM side of the radio at 1610 AM. How you doing, folks, in Chickamauga, Georgia? I want y'all to know that we're all Americans here, that we're all liberated and free of any tyrannical type of government. At least we kicked the ass out of the British Empire in 1776 and became free and liberated. I am not one to hold back my view. I am not one to really be the type of person to hold back anything. I tell it like it is. I tell it like it is. And I find honesty to be a whole lot better than somebody lying to me. And I hope that you agree with that, because I'm sure that deep down inside you like honesty as well. And when it comes to our politicians, I don't think that they purposely lie to us. I think that at some point they have been, well, let's just say, met with opposition to what they want to do for people. What am I talking about? Well, this thing with Harry Reid and his son Rory Reid and Chinese government and a company over there trying to take land from a citizen of the United States of America. All of that, and seeing what happened last weekend, that got Harry Reid a little pissed off. So instead of trying to work something out for the betterment of Mr. Cliven Bundy and the Bundy family, he decides to go to the dark side, figuratively speaking, by saying that any of those supporters down there of the Bundy family are domestic terrorists. I cannot tell you how odd that sounds, but I'm not surprised. Harry Reid is nothing but trash. His way of doing things is over. The freedom of the citizens of the United States of America is more important than his greed. And believe me, he is one greedy bastard. He is being investigated by Congressman Darrell Issa. He's being investigated for, well, a whole lot of things. And if this investigation turns out that he tried to take the land, which of course all of the circumstantial evidence I've seen so far says he tried, then he should go to jail. Period. Okay? Let me say this. It happened on July 4th, 1776. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with one another and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitled them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shewn that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. That is the first part of the Declaration of Independence of the 13 United States of America from Great Britain, signed July 4th, 1776. From my perspective, I look at it this way. If these people in Washington, D.C. ever understood that what I had just read, I will tell you this. They all of them should be in prison. And I don't say that lightly because I don't want to see anybody suffer. But you see, we have been suffering. We have been suffering. We, the people, have been suffering. The United States Constitution, the preamble says, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." This is Section 1, all legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. Section 2. You can read all of this yourself. Section 3. Section 4. 5 and 6. But here's the biggie. Section 8, subsection 1. Everybody thinks, well, not thinks, everybody does not want to pay taxes. But here's the establishment of taking money from you. I emphasize that for a reason. Section 8, subsection 1, the Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. Let me specify why they say uniform for you meat and potatoes people out there. Flat tax, period. Not this tiered bull crap that we have now. Should be, says here, but all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. Uniform. The same. Not 2% for the rich, 60% for the poor. No. Flat tax across the board. Subsection 2 of Section 8 of the Constitution, to borrow money on the credit of the United States, which we are now $17 trillion in debt. Subsection 3, to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with Indian tribes. Subsection 4, to establish a uniform rule of naturalization and uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcy throughout the United States. Subsection 5, to coin money, regulate the value thereof and of foreign coin, and fix the standard of weights and measures. Subsection 6, to provide for the punishment of counterfeiting the securities and current coin of the United States. Subsection 7, to establish post offices and post roads. Subsection 8, to promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and investors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries. Subsection 9, to constitute tribunals inferior to the Supreme Court. Subsection 10, to define and punish piracies and felonies committed on the high seas and offenses against the laws of nations. Subsection 11, to declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures on land and water. Subsection 12, to raise and support armies, but no appropriation of money to that use shall be for a longer term than 2 years. Folks, we have a standing army in the United States of America. That is more dangerous than anything else. Subsection 13, to provide and maintain a navy. Subsection 14, to make rules for the government and regulation of the land and naval forces. Subsection 15, to provide for calling to provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions. Subsection 16, this is very important, folks. Listen to this. To provide for organizing, arming, and disciplining the militia, and for governing such part of them as may be employed in the service of the United States, reserving to the states respectively the appointment of the officers and the authority of training the militia according to the discipline prescribed by Congress. Subsection 17, to exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such district not exceeding 10 miles square as may, by secession or by cession of particular states, and the acceptance of Congress become the seat of the government of the United States, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased by the consent of the legislation of the state in which the same shall be, for the erection of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings, and subsection 18, to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers, and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States, or in any department or officer thereof. I could go down through all the articles, 3, 4, 5, I can do that whole thing. I can go there. But I will put this up on the Free America Radio Facebook page so that you can go through it yourself. Now, my question to you is, and it's real simple. This is the Constitution for the United States of America. And my question to you is, what is the Constitution of the United States of America? Now, some people say that the Act of 1871 was debunked, or it's a myth. Is it? From serendipity.li, you can go www.serendipity.li, and I will put that up there in the Free America Radio Facebook page right now before the break, as well as below it I'll put another link, Corporation U.S. Mythology, teamlaw.net. And during the break I will put up more. Let me tell you something, folks. Regardless of what a piece of paper says, regardless of what a Congress tells us is protected rights guaranteed to us by a Bill of Rights, we are human beings. We are what we are. We do what we do. And we take care of our own. Do we not? If anyone tells us that we are wrong, I would think that it would be our responsibility to show them why we are not, but more importantly, the burden of proof is on them. I've got links on Free America Radio on Facebook. Please go check it out. If you would, please. Thank you very much. In the meantime, I shall return right after this. America Matters. Enthusiastically entertaining, educating, enlightening everyone everywhere, while including a unique mix of all forms of media, including the internet, with continual live streaming available for all their shows. Their website is www.americamatters.us. Listen to America Matters on 101.3 Renegade Radio, krng.streamon.fm, or 99.1 FM Talk Radio, weekends at 99.1fmtalk.com, or 12:30 a.m. at 1230kjfk.com. If you're into liberty and libertarian values, tune in to The Angel Clark Show, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, at radiofreedom.us. The hottest new talk radio show is on Revolution Radio. The BK Factor talks about news, religion, politics, and more. BK adds his opinion to all of it. The BK Factor airs Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific Time, noon to 2 Eastern. If you miss a show, you miss out. There's only one man that has accomplished everything that he has set out to do. That man is Chris Top. The Chris Top Program on Spreaker.com. Hey folks, how you doing? Welcome back. This is the Views Express Live right here on the Free America Radio Network, broadcasting live on 1610 AM in the Chickamauga, Georgia area. freeamericaradio.us and wakingupthemasses.com. Big shout out to Mr. Brian Lang over there at Live Truth Radio. How you doing there, buddy? Drop on over to the Spreaker chat. That's where I'm at. Hey, that rhymed. Yeah, just go to Spreaker.com, look under Live Now, and it'll show Free America Radio Network or The Views Expressed, one of the two. And click that, and you shall be in the Spreaker chat. The United States of America is our country, folks. And I can tell you right now that if there was any responsible and constitutional politician in the White House, I'd be surprised. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook. Let's read some articles, shall we? This is from Guerrilla Media Network. Dear Barack Obama, Harry Reid, Eric Holder, Sheriff Douglas Gillespie, Governor Sandoval, and BLM's Special Agent Daniel Love. Before I read this, let me say this is from Guerrilla Media Network. Not me. If any of the Bundy family members or peaceful family members supporting them are harmed in any way this weekend, we will send tens of millions of people to defend ourselves. Each of you will be held accountable if anyone is killed or harmed by your negligent, unlawful, and unconstitutional actions, and you will immediately be incarcerated. Stand down. Keep everyone, including federal employees, safe. They will soon be joining us against you, so we need them all at full strength. If anyone follows through with Harry Reid's threat of coming after, quote-unquote, domestic terrorists, none of you will survive, as we will defend ourselves to our death. To kill one of us is to attempt to kill all of us. We outnumber you, we outgun you, and we have God and the Constitution on our side to defend against you. We will soon crush communism once and for all of the world, and you will never be able to stop us. That's from Guerrilla Media Network. I want to say this in response to that. One, I am all for peace. I am all for keeping people safe and out of harm's way. Number two, if there are others that would rather not have that would rather just push forward into the massive destruction of the human race, then three, all the law-abiding constitutional patriots in this nation will come at you in defense of our lives and our livelihoods, and we will stop you. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, well, you're all melodramatic. What the hell's wrong with you? Don't you know that they have a right to say what they say, that they'll be, held accountable for what they say? So the peaceful route would be just to let the system take care of its own. It doesn't stop there, folks. Oh, the system takes care of its own. We see that on many different levels. But then the system doesn't get enough of taking care of business. It wants to go after the accuser, the person that put the person in jail, the judges, the lawyers, the citizens. Oh, yeah. It doesn't stop there, folks. Okay? The system takes care of its own, yes. And I'm glad. I am glad that the system holds people like Harry Reid accountable, if they do. I am glad that the system of government that we have holds people like Harry Reid responsible for his actions and accountable for what he says. I would say that because all of this about him has gone viral in the last 24 to 48 hours, I bet you by Monday or Tuesday afternoon, he's going to be backtracking his words and say, well, I didn't mean that, I misspoke, or whatever. He's going to come up with some lame damn excuse that it's going to make him look even stupider than he already is. Folks, when you step in the crap, it's hard to take it off. Do you know what I'm saying? I've watched this country go from a very prosperous nation to a nation that lives on next to nothing and survives by will alone. I've seen a country go from having so much to having very little, from having the greatest army in the world to having barely enough to take care of our own borders. Folks, that's your fault. Oh, and I put myself in that boat too, so don't worry. I'm not above you. I'm equal with you. Because of all the wonderful words that are spoken and all the campaign promises that are made, oh yeah, we're buffaloed into believing all that bull crap. But when it comes right down to it, folks, they lie through their teeth. Well, maybe the next guy won't. Really? Maybe we have people right now that are going to run for president in 2016 that aren't going to be that way. Maybe we just need to let the system work. No. Now, I understand. I understand that there are people out there, and I've seen different posts and I've heard different interviews and such, with people who are running for president in 2016. But folks, if let's put it this way, if you're in the big cities, I'm going to use this as an analogy. If you're in the big cities and you're running a big corporation, and you got some mom and pop, and the city has, let's say, 300,000 people in it, but a city next to you, maybe 20 miles down the road, has only maybe 80,000 people, but you've got the same type of business down there. Who's going to win in the marketing campaign? Who's going to win in getting people to buy their products? Yes, the big boy in town. That's right. You've got a Democratic and a Republican situation going on here. But then you have people, and like I said, it's your fault, that have this attitude of gimme, 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 gimme. Okay? And then you have the other side, which says, you know what? I'm proud to work hard and to gain what I have and to do what I do. And I will pay my fair share. But I just saw a statistic that there's more money going out for the gimme, gimme, gimme people than there is coming in for the people that actually work for the money. Taxpayers are paying more for people who are just sitting around doing nothing than they are working for themselves, in other words. So here's a novel idea for all you politicians out there in your cities and towns and counties and states. How about devising a way for people who are unemployed to either start a business of their own or to go to work for someone until they can get on their feet? In other words, you guys, you politicians, don't create jobs. You know who creates jobs? I do. You do. The man on the street, the man down the road, the mother in the home that wants to start an in-home child care, the man who goes around mowing his neighbor's lawns that wants to do that for a living. How about doing that? Those people are the ones that create jobs. Not Mr. $5,000 suit politician. Unless they take a page out of Vladimir Putin's book, then of course, that's what they want. So from now on, I am not going to believe one single thing from a candidate's mouth or a politician's mouth until they can back it up and be honest and truthful with the American people and come right out and say, look, I'm part of the government. I cannot make a job for you. You're going to have to go out and do that yourself. But here's a few steps to take to do just that. Oh, and by the way, if anybody out there, if any politician out there says, well, why don't you go to the Small Business Administration? Screw you. Why should I start a business and already be in debt by getting loans? That is the stupidest thing I have ever heard in my life. You give me grant money. You steer me in ways where I can get either private grants or corporate grants or whatever, free money. Hey, if you want to start a business, why? Common sense tells me that if you're going to work your butt off at a job that you don't like to save up your money to try to get your own business going, that's one way to do it, and you should be proud of that. But to go straight to the Small Business Administration and get a loan that you may not qualify for because of the business you're trying to start and the credit that you have. No. That's stupid. That's like having a baby and your child that you're looking at in the delivery room or in the other room is already in debt for $55,000. And you haven't even paid the hospital bill yet. See how stupid that is? So if the politicians are serious about helping people get work and going to work, and if the politicians are serious about creating jobs, how about giving grant money? There's a lot of organizations out there, privately funded, that are willing to give you money to start a business. You got to write out a grant proposal. You got to write out, all of your finances and do all that's. Or you can go through all that, or you can work at a job you don't like with a boss screaming down your neck and going home and you going home, kicking off your shoes, and your wife screaming at you because the kids are being, brats and all this. This whole system has to change. The whole system. First, get rid of the IRS, get rid of the Federal Reserve. Second, get rid of all of the criminal politicians in Washington, D.C. And the only way you can do that is get rid of the lobbyists and the special interest groups. Kick them out. We don't need reform on immigration or on small business. No. We don't need regulation of that as well. You know what we need? We need a reformation of Washington, D.C. We need to reform that whole piece of 10 mile square land. You know what we need to do? We need to turn Washington, D.C. into a giant freaking park and turn the White House into a museum. That's what we need to do. Each state can take care of themselves. The only reason why they can't, or the only reason why they're in debt, is because they accepted the bribes. Yes, they accepted the money from the federal government as matching transportation funds, or whatever you want to call them. It is interesting to me it's interesting to me to see people who are just sitting on the fence or sitting in the bleachers watching this whole game play out in front of them, and they're sitting there going, who's winning? This is really confusing. No one's really made any headway here. You are more you have it more precise than I think most people do. Because you're not subjected within the game. You're sitting out viewing all of this and wondering what the hell's going on. And then you get people like me who've been accused of being a conspiracy theorist and all this. And, you people need to get your head out of your ass. TheNewAmerican.com. Why constitutionalists should celebrate April 18th. That would be today, folks. 239 years ago today, Paul Revere made his famous ride to warn the colonists of the approaching assault of the British. In years past, children were taught in school about this ride and the noble deeds of our rebellious ancestors. With the federal government in charge of curriculum and the spread of the Common Core version of history, however, the memory of the events of that night are growing dimmer by the year. This article serves to remind readers of Revere and just why our forefathers were willing to risk dangling at the end of a rope in the defense of liberty. Throughout 1774 and the spring of 1775, Paul Revere was hired by the Boston Committee of Correspondence and the Massachusetts Committee of Safety to serve as an express writer, an 18th century mailman of sorts. Revere's job was to carry information, news, letters, dispatch, copies of proposed resolutions to disperse patriots throughout New England as far away as New York and Philadelphia. This day, April 18th, Dr. Joseph Warren notified Revere that he was to ride to Lexington, Massachusetts, and alert local patriot leaders Samuel Adams and John Hancock that British regulars were marching to arrest them. Having crossed the Charles River by a boat rowed by two associates, Revere arranged to secure a horse on loan from his friend John Larkin. Once mounted and prepared, Revere rode over to meet with members of the Charlestown Sons of Liberty to double-check their understanding of the signals they had agreed upon the weekend prior for communicating British troop movement. One lantern would be hung in the bell tower of Christ Church in Boston if the troops were marching by land across Boston Neck. 2 lanterns would be hung if the Redcoats were advancing across the Charles River. Off he sped to Lexington, stopping at the homes of patriots to warn them of the coming of the British Army. For hours, Revere rode from house to house, alerting the families of their need to prepare for the impending arrival of the phalanx of His Majesty's finest. As the night wore on, Revere finally reached Lexington about midnight, approaching the house where Samuel Adams and John Hancock were staying. A guard placed there to protect the Patriot leaders asked Revere to quit making so much noise. Noise, Revere retorted in response. You'll have noise enough before long. The regulars are coming out. This comment reminds one of the rapid assembly of hundreds of fed-up patriots who rode to the defense of Nevada rancher Cliven Bundy and the Constitution. The events of this recent battle between state sovereignty and federal usurpation don't need to be rehearsed here, but these articles are invaluable. Back to the midnight ride. After having thus alerted Adams and Hancock, a second mounted messenger arrived, William Dawes. Dawes was charged with the same mission as Revere, but given an alternate route in case Revere was discovered, captured, or otherwise prevented from reaching Lexington. Dawes and Revere met privately and decided that their mission was not over. They would take another ride, Dr. Samuel Prescott, and they would set off for Concord, Massachusetts, and alert patriots there of the need to protect the guns and ammunition stored at the hidden depot outside of that town. Almost immediately after the brave patriot trio set out for Concord, they were spotted and detained by a British Army patrol. All 3 were arrested. Amazingly, Dr. Prescott escaped from his captors. Dawes accomplished the same feat just a little while later, leaving Paul Revere alone in British custody. Eventually, the soldiers were ordered to release Revere, and he was accordingly set free. Unfortunately, his horse was not afforded the same treatment, so Revere set out on foot towards Lexington, where he became a witness to the late stages of the Battle of Lexington Green. Although separated by over 2 centuries from the midnight ride of Paul Revere, 21st century Americans have much in common with our patriot fathers. First, we live at a time when our own government is designing to deny us the enjoyment of our most sacred rights. The long train of abuses is hurtling toward a level of absolutism only dreamed about by despots such as King George III. Every day, for example, agents of the federal government seem to take aim at the First Amendment in a variety of ways. The most destructive of those attacks is found within those pages of Obamacare. In a press release, Representative Jim Jordan, Republican of Ohio, summarized the threat to religious freedom posed by the president's hallmark legislation. Quote, "This Obamacare rule still tramples on Americans' First Amendment right to freedom of religion. It's a fig leaf and not a compromise. Whether they are affiliated with a church or not, employers will still be forced to pay an insurance company for coverage that includes abortion-inducing drugs. This is not just a problem for church-affiliated hospitals and charities. Under these rules, a small business owner with religious objections to abortion-inducing drugs and contraception must either violate his religious beliefs or violate the law. The liberal Obama administration thinks its political goals trump the religious faith of American citizens. This isn't right, fair, or constitutional," unquote. As for the Fourth Amendment, the federal government's constant monitoring of real-world and virtual lives of Americans and others is making the protections of that portion of the Bill of Rights all but historical. Beginning last summer, documents released by a former low-level networking subcontractor at the National Security Agency have revealed the immense scope and sophistication of the tools being used by the federal government to construct the 21st century panopticon. One unwarranted wiretap, one unwarranted seizure of a phone record, one search of records of an individual's digital communications is too many. We were a republic of laws. Then the supreme constitutional law of the land must be adhered to. The standard is not whether or not the spies or their bosses think the deprivations are okay. The standard of the Constitution for every issue, on every occasion, with no exceptions. Anything less than that is a step toward tyranny. Next, the National Defense Authorization Act takes aim at the Fifth and Sixth Amendment as well as threatening the First Amendment by exposing journalists to the indefinite detention provisions of the Act if they are assumed to be helping suspected terrorists by way of stories they publish. Tokyo Rose, go look her up. Anyone suspected by the president of aligning himself with Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, or associated forces may be arrested by military and confined in a federal prison until the end of the war on terror. These suspects will be denied due process, all in the name of national security. From Obamacare and the NDAA, from reasonable gun control bills to the BLM's attempt to assert ownership over land within a sovereign state, the 9th and 10th Amendments are routinely ignored by Washington, and it seems that every day Congress passes another measure aimed at reducing states to mere administrative units of the federal government. Finally, on this anniversary, we would be well to remember the marching orders given to the British troops heading to Lexington on that faithful day. Seize the ammunition. In recent weeks, President Obama has signed onto a document calling for the implementation this year of the United Nations Arms Treaty that would prohibit civilians from buying, selling, trading, or transferring all firearms and ammunition. Add to that the treasonous act, the fact that the army of the president's command is mightier than anything King George III could have mustered, and an image of the true scope of the present threat of totalitarianism begins to appear. Our only hope lies in remembering Paul Revere's ride and the reason for it as we face our own fight with the forces of tyranny. May we emulate their example of unwavering, unflinching, unapologetic commitment to the protection of our God-given rights, even in the face of persecution. We've got what we've got, folks. Go check that out on Free America Radio on Facebook. It's all right there, folks. It's all right there. I can only tell you what I know. You're the one that's going to have to go figure it out. I'm not going to give you the silver platter answers, but I'll give you things to think about. And I hope you do your homework. I'll be back right after this.
Late Night in the Midlands is an alternative media that covers the truth, theory, and fact that the lamestream media won't talk about. We cover everything from the known and the unknown, the normal and the paranormal, the government lies and the government ties, and even their thrive. We tell what's coming, what's going, whether it be politics or archaeologists. We have an amazing fan base, and our shows are all archived to be heard millions of times more. So tell your friends, your family, and anybody you care about LateNightInTheMidlands.com. Become a member and be informed.
Get your morning started with the Morning Brew on 92.6 The Blitz. Music from the 60s, 70s, and more. The Blitz 92.6. Go to radiorocktheblitz.blogspot.com.
Free Talk Live.
You give someone an ounce of liberty and they'll go around abusing it and harming everyone else with it.
If we legalize guns...
People will be shooting people everywhere.
Right.
If you legalize prostitution, people will be having sex on the street corners. If you legalize drugs, we'll have heroin vending machines in the streets. We've heard it all on Free Talk Live. They take it to the most absurd, illogical extremes, and you're absolutely right, Alexander. It's okay for them to have freedom.
Yeah, you can give them a gun. They won't go around shooting people. But watch out with their neighbor, because you give them a gun, they'll go around in a rampage around the city, killing everyone.
But yes, they can be trusted, and apparently the government can be trusted too, because magically, we only elect the best of the best, the cream of the crop. The bureaucrats that are administering these programs are the upper echelon of society, the most trustworthy individuals.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes when I squint, I swear I can see a halo above their heads.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Are you tired of the mainstream media? The media that is so biased, you wouldn't even let your dog listen to it? Well, there's an answer. Angel Clark.
On RadioFreedom.us.
Just listen to her fans.
One hell of a writer. I've read a considerable amount of her articles and quite impressed.
Until Angel, my life was void of meaning.
I want to thank you for saving my goldfish from drowning.
I love Angel Clark's honesty and her down-to-earth concern about the people.
She is very dedicated.
Angel, we need you.
This Angel's a sexy woman. I think she's going to go places, but I don't know where.
Ladies and gentlemen, she does a good job.
If it wasn't for Angel,
You saved his life, and I will be indebted to you forever. SussexCountyAngel.com.
Be a part of Angel's Army.
Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. on RadioFreedom.us.
Free Talk Live.
Do you guys have a zombie plan? I'm just wondering what this country's going to do if we had some sort of apocalypse like that.
Like a zombie attack.
What are we going to do?
People coming out of the ground, like in Thriller, like in Michael Jackson's
like 28
Thriller.
days later, like a virus or something.
Oh, okay.
I mean, people don't come back to life.
Well, now, there are different kinds of zombies out there.
Now,
but let me go through the types of zombies. I mean, you've got the ones that can crawl out of the ground, right? And then she was talking about like an infection kind of zombie, like a la Resident Evil, for instance. So ideally, if you're going to have to perish at the hands of a zombie, which would be the preference? Would you prefer to have your brains eaten, or would you prefer to become one of them?
I think I'd rather just die. The last thing I'd want is, of course, the people you split up with, then I'm talking my wife and my child. I'm coming back. I'm wanting to eat Laura's brains. It's bad. It's bad.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. What does freedom mean? Tune in to LRN.FM to find out. LRN.FM is the Liberty Radio Network, a collection of live talk radio and podcasts, all coming from a principled pro-liberty perspective. LRN.FM show hosts aren't left, right, or conspiracy kooks. You can tune in 24/7 to LRN.FM via your phone, computer, satellite, and more. Listen free anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
folks. How you doing? This is the Views Express Live right here for the 18th of April, 2014. Hope you did your taxes, man. Because, you don't want to be SWAT teamed if you don't pay that illegal, the tribute to Caesar. You know what I mean? You know why there was a census back in biblical times? Because the government, quote unquote, wanted your money. They wanted to know how much they could rake in from the people. Matthew was actually it wasn't Matthew, it was Levi, believe his name was. But he was a tax collector. People say, well, taxes are illegal. How so? I just read you the Constitution in the first hour, part of it anyway. Section 8, subsection 1, and all of them after that. Is it illegal? In the way that it is now, yes. In the way that it was originally meant to be, which was a flat tax, uniform, no. Everybody was taxed at the same rate, or should be right now. I would say 15%. I don't think that's bad. Some people say 23. Some people say 7. Me, 15 across the board. Okay? You make $1 billion a year. How much is that? You don't have to worry about paying it. It's already paid. Or, how about this, folks? A consumption tax. They brought that up about 15 years ago, and now it's back again. You go out and buy gas, you go out and buy food, you go out and buy something, you go buy a shirt at, a local, clothing store. You've paid your tax. Boom, done. And then on the other hand, you got the idea that some countries do this, by the way. You got the idea that everybody gets a living salary every month from the government. What does that tell you? I mean, it's not, you don't have to work. No, it's not disability. It's just a living salary every month. What that does, folks, is it eliminates ambition. That eliminates ambition. And what we are ambitious about, we are an ambitious group of people, are we not? I hope. The intent is based upon that ambition. You want to start your own job. You want to, your own business. You want to, gain, acceptance and get another level in your job or get a raise or a promotion or something, right? Everybody has their ambition. Everybody knows this. Everybody understands this. But the government is still fighting us, and that sole resource that we have, and when I say soul, I'm talking S-O-U-L, that sole resource we have to build our lives upon what we intend to do, being the ambitious bunch that we are. Now, I know that some people don't want to start their own business because they just don't want to do that. They are not so inclined to do so. But I know some people, like moi, who would rather work for themselves than work for somebody that's not going to pay me, number one, a living wage, or number two, what I want. With the experience that I have. Okay? So, what do I do? Geez, I sound like William Shatner there as Captain Kirk. Bones. Anyway. What do we do? We're an ambitious bunch, are we not? Ah, yes, we are. We are also a very resilient bunch. You don't believe me? How do you think this country's been existing for the past 238 years. We've got knocked on our knees, but we got up. We got knocked down on our face, but we got up. We got knocked on our keister, we got up, didn't we? And now we have a much bigger fighter in the ring. We have a much bigger person standing before us in this analogy, as an example illustration, as I shall put it. We have Goliath standing in front of us. At what point do we look at Goliath and say, "You're going down, you mother effer"? At what point do we look at the biggest, baddest bully in the schoolyard and just reach out and knock him in the jaw and put him on the ground? We get to that point when we have had enough. But when have we had enough? Think about your intent and think about how ambitious you are to create something for yourself. And if it's not for yourself, think about your neighbor, your coworker, your husband, your wife, your kids, your neighborhood, your city, your county, your state. And look across the way and see this big, huge monster. And remember the story of David and Goliath. Remember the story. And then remember the faith that some little teenage squirt had. He had 3 little rocks in a primitive slingshot, and he missed twice, but the third one hit its mark. I would say that within the last 238 years of the existence of the United States of America, we've missed Goliath twice. You decide how much faith you need to put that little stone in that slingshot and whip that sucker over your head as fast as you can and release it toward the enemy. Now, think about this. Who's the bully in the schoolyard? Who's the Goliath on the field of battle? Because, folks, have you ever seen any other country drop 2 atomic weapons on any other country besides the United States of America and the military-industrial complex? Lest you forget Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Who's Goliath and who's David? Who's the one that's going to stand on the field of battle and tell the biggest, baddest, dumbest bully in the schoolyard that you have had enough? What are we going to do, folks? What are we going to do? I mean, we wake up every morning, we look at our husbands, we look at our wives, we look at our kids, we kiss them goodbye, but when we walk out that door, we have faith that we're going to come home that night. But the fate And the powers that be may have something else in store for you. Much like they did with the story of Job, who lost everything, but found his faith, found his purpose, focused his attention on what was right and true and accurate and honest, and had everything given back to him twofold over. He got more than what he lost. So we look at the United States of America. We look at what is out there and we examine this big old behemoth of a government with this power to overreach any state law and require us to pay fees that we don't owe on land that they think they own. And then the owner, the actual owner of that land, calls upon the rest of America to help him. And guess what? People came out and helped out a fellow citizen of the United States of America. And we'll do it again. And we'll stand up again. And we'll make our stand. If it were 2,000 down in Bunkerville, you better guarantee there's going to be 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 people down there taking care of the United States citizen that we care about. And I know you people out there are going to say, well, you better be prepared because there's going to be over 100,000 military troops coming your way. Want to make a bet? Over 85% of the American military in all branches, including the law enforcement of the United States, have said, and it is on record, go look it up, that if their COs or the commanders-in-chiefs, of the military and, of course, the law enforcement ever gave the order to take away the weapons from the United States citizens, they said they would defy that order. So, that's a good sign. Is it not? Is it not? Now, my question to you, again, I will rephrase this. That's my phone. My question to you is this. I will put my life on the line for a fellow citizen. Not because I'm in the military, not because I am a law enforcement official, quote unquote. But I am a born and bred United States citizen, and it is my obligation and duty to protect you. No matter whether or not you want to take away my guns, I am going to protect you anyway. Why? Because you are an American citizen, and you deserve to be protected. Whether or not you think otherwise, and think I'm some scum of the earth because I carry around a weapon, it's going to come a time when you're going to need protection. And if you're so scared of the mean, nasty-looking little gun, step aside there, wimpy, and I'll protect you because you're an American citizen. This thing that's happening down in Bunkerville, Nevada. By the way, there's a nice little, well, let's just say a little get-together down in Bunkerville right now this weekend. So if you're headed down into that direction, please stop by and say hello to Mr. Cliven Bundy and his family. I'm an American citizen, and I will stand on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights of the United States of America and defend her and defend it with my life from enemies, foreign and domestic. And I guarantee you, whatever enemy is staring me in the face is not gonna have a good day. That's for damn sure. I don't, all that noise on my cell phone, you heard that was texting, so let me take a couple of minutes here, let me answer those texts, and I shall return right after this. With her unique, fast-paced, witty sarcasm, Angel Clark brings you the news of the day with a creative twist. Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern, on radiofreedom.us. You can also listen to her live on the Liberty Radio Network at lrn.fm.
Lock it on to the best station on the net.
The Free America Radio Network. Are you a filmmaker and want to make your epic feature film with no money, some money, and or all the money in the world? Listen to Christopher J. Taylor as he discusses everything you need to know about filmmaking and more on Film 101 on HTLA973.com. Hey folks, welcome back. Yes, I answered all the texts. Thank you very much. Forgot to turn my phone down. It's Friday the 18th of April 2014. How y'all doing today, folks? How y'all doing? Go to freeamericaradio.us if you want to donate to help Free America Radio Network get to the next level. Please do. I do appreciate that very much. If you want to sponsor the show, you can do that. Email me and we will work something out. freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. Oh my goodness. What else? Let me give a big shout out to Mr. Bob Brutus over at Waking Up the Masses for bringing the Views Express live over to his network, the Waking Up the Masses Radio Network, and helping me broadcast on 1610 AM in the Chickamauga, Georgia area. Hey, Georgia! All right. You guys rock. All right. Also, want to give a big old virtual high five to one and only patriot himself, Mr. Brian D. Lang, over at Live Truth Radio, right there on WakingUpTheMasses.com. Also, Nick Tucker, the man. Yes, there he is, Mr. Nick Tucker. Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on Facebook, and also distortedreality.podbean.com. Also, again, Bob Brutus, host of Kicking the Capstone on wakingupthemasses.com. You can find both those shows at the top of freeamericaradio.us website. Go there, check it out. Anyway, what else? Oh, yeah. Free America Radio on Facebook. If you would, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Who is the BLM? Well, I know there are going to be people out there going to try to debunk this and everything else. Let me tell you something. Shut your big damn pie holes because you're dumber than a box of dirt, okay? You better sift through all that dirt and find the facts and the truth as you're sitting there playing, right? Okay? Got your little trucks playing in the dirt and everything. The BLM, the Bureau of Land Management. The BLM is actually a sub-corporation of the United States Incorporated, a private foreign-owned offshore corporation since its last incorporation in 1925, copyrighted, trademarked, and registered in Puerto Rico under the Reorganization Act of Washington District of Columbia by its own private business charter. Neither the BLM nor any other federal corporate agency has lawful legal authority, jurisdiction, or interstate nexus within the 50-state geographical landmass. BLM is actually classified as, quote, an agent of foreign principal, unquote, under the Intergovernmental Personnel Act. In other words, they don't represent the constitutional republic or the interests of the American people, but rather a foreign-owned principal, i.e., the international banking military corporate cartel of London City, England, known as Crown Corporation as their supreme authority. This has been openly admitted and exposed through Supreme Court cases since and even before 1938. Try to debunk that, folks. From Real Jew News, yes, realjewnews.com, Putin and the Rothschild cabal. Keep in mind whom Putin takes his orders from. Don't sell Putin short. He is anti-Rothschild banking cabal as the day is long. They started plunging Ukraine into debt in 2005. Putin is following orders to bring them down. The Pope likes Putin. Now, let me just... Oh, God. How can I put this? How can I put this, folks? Seriously? Hey, I have something, and I'm sure you've heard this before. I have something that I want to play for you. It's about 5 minutes long, a little over 5 minutes long. I think I'm looking here to see if I have it. I don't. There it is, right there. And I want you to listen to this. And if you have anything that you can add to it, please do. Because, I'd love to hear from you. I keep telling people I want to hear from you, but I don't get emails. Hello, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Free America Radio at USA.com. Free America Radio at USA.com. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, in about, here we go. This is just called Warning. I know I played this before, but please, listen to this, check it out, and if you got anything to add to it, please do. Free America Radio at USA.com.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Now, one side in this campaign has been telling us that the issues of this election are the maintenance of peace and prosperity. The line has been used, we've never had it so good.
I won't have to worry about putting gas in my car. I won't have to worry about paying my mortgage. You know, if I help him, he's going to help me.
But I have an uncomfortable feeling that this prosperity isn't something on which we can base our hopes for the future.
The key point I'm making right now is that the economy is moving in a positive direction.
And yet our government continues to spend $17 million a day more than the government takes in.
You're telling me we got to go spend money to keep from going bankrupt? The answer, yes, I'm telling you.
We've raised our debt limit 3 times in the last 12 months. And now our national debt is 1.5 times bigger than all the combined debts of all the nations of the world.
We're going to raise the debt limit. We always have. We will do it again.
We have $15 billion in gold in our treasury. We don't own an ounce.
I have been informed that the majority plans to block consideration of this amendment, which is number 1367, regarding the transparency at the Federal Reserve.
Foreign dollar claims are $27.3 billion.
It said that China has now surpassed Japan as the U.S. government's largest creditor, owning at least 10% of all U.S. debt, perhaps as much as $700 billion.
And we've just had announced that the dollar of 1939 will now purchase 45 cents in its total value.
President Obama is expected to face tough questions over the U.S. decision to pump $600 billion freshly printed dollars into its economy. Now, the move is an attempt to revive the country's finances, but will result in the devaluation of the dollar.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
We've got to give them a stake in creating the kind of world order that I think all of us would like to see.
And it's been said if we lose that war, and in so doing lose this way of freedom of ours,
you'll construct a legal regime to make indefinite detention legal.
History will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening.
They're starting a riot here.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers.
For some trips, it'll be faster than flying, without the pat down.
Anna was picked to go through. Pretty much everybody except the baby was picked to go through the scanner.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
Damn America, that's in the Bible.
Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
I've got a core set of values that I think have to be advanced, and that my individual salvation depends on our collective salvation.
You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down.
We had an election, and it was about a direction for our country.
And regardless of their sincerity, their humanitarian motives, those who would trade our freedom for security have embarked on this downward course. In this vote harvesting time, they use terms like the Great Society, or, as we were told a few days ago by the President, we must accept a greater government activity in the affairs of the people.
E pluribus unum, out of many, one. In the end, that's what this election is about.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so.
Over the course of 10 years, it would cost what it would cost us. All right, okay, we're going to. It would cost us about the same as it would cost.
Don't!
Tearing down the walls that stand between freedom and tyranny, revealing who is behind the curtain, pushing the buttons and pulling the handles. sharing the truth one fact at a time. From behind enemy lines in FEMA Region 9, from the biggest little city in the world, this is The Views Expressed Live.
Get ready.
Hey, folks, how you doing? Hey, welcome back. There's a lot of things going on. The last few minutes of this show for Friday, the 18th of April, 2014. There's a lot of things that we have to be reminded of, and sometimes people like Ronald Reagan, who was a socialist, go look it up, reminds us just what America is all about. But then we also need to be reminded of the current president and how incredibly dangerous and treasonous this man truly is. I don't think there's a moment in time that we could be reminded of something about our government and about its disdain for the general public that it truly has. Oh, wait. Our government loves the people. Our government is just wonderful. They have everything under control and we are just happy.
Nope. Wrong. Guess again.
I can tell you right now that this current, how can I be so plain and nice about it? This government sucks, folks, okay? Harry Reid is the biggest, dumbest piece of crap on the face of the planet. Him and Nancy Pelosi, him and Dianne Feinstein, they all need to get arrested and thrown in prison, along with the president and vice president. Hello? Did you not hear me in the first half hour of the first hour of this show? I read the opening of the Constitution. I read the opening of the Declaration of Independence. And believe me, this is a government we need to throw off. Anyway, excuse me, we need to create something new. Sorry, had to cough there. Didn't want to cough in your ear. We need to look at what we have and change it. There's hope and change. No, dumbass. Hey, I want to be totally transparent because I want to tell you all the truth. In 2008, from looking at what Bush was doing in the last couple of years of his second term, I thought, nobody can be this bad. And then this guy came up from behind, from everywhere, from just nowhere, apparently, became president of the United States. Or at that time was running to become president of the United States, and I unfortunately got caught up in the hype, much like everybody did. And I got to tell you, I just have to be. I just have to be as honest. I have to be honest. Not as honest as, but I have to be honest. People get buffaloed. I got buffaloed. I voted for this jerk in the White House, not in 2012, but in 2008. In 2012, I voted for Gary Johnson. Some people say, well, independent or nonpartisan votes don't matter. They go to the, to the candidate with, who is more popular. There you go. It goes for the popular vote. Well, that's the other thing we need to get rid of in this country is voting. As it stands now, this current operation of voting with the Electoral College and all that bullcrap, we need to get rid of all that, and we need to go by merit. What did your politician do in your state? What did your candidate do in your state? How did they help your state? What did they do? When your politician, when your congressman, not congressman, but when your candidate for Congress was governor, what did he do? When your candidate for Congress for the House of Representatives was a comptroller in your state, what did he do? When your candidate for Senate was a police officer, what did he do? You know how it stands now. You know how we vote? We don't, because our votes don't count. Oh, we do. We go and punch the numbers or press the electronic button, whatever it is. But it don't matter. You know how those people get put in office? Cha-ching. Money, money, money. Yeah, exactly. These big elites, the oil companies, the unions, all of this, they buy those positions for these candidates. And they leave us with the illusion of choice. And it's pointless. I'm going to have a couple of guests on next week. I got to verify their availability, so I'm not going to tell you who they are until I can verify if they can come on or not. But I want to give them the floor and just ask them to describe the illusion of choice that we have, plus how, number one, how our votes count, or number two, how they don't count, and that whole process. So I'm going to verify with them to see if they can come on. If they come on the same day, I'll just have them on at the same show and go from there. So, I cannot honestly say that we have a United States of America. We have the banner of freedom, which is the flag of the 13 stripes and 50 stars, but what does that stand for anymore? A kid was indefinitely suspended from school, and please help me verify this. I totally forgot, but I do remember vaguely seeing a headline that a student in a school was indefinitely suspended for wearing a Confederate shirt. Hello? A shirt that looked like a Confederate flag. What? Yes, folks. Yes, folks, that's the way it is. Hello? That's the way it is. I don't know. I don't know what these school administrators are thinking, and I don't know why people are so politically correct, but I'm going to tell you right now, stop it. Being politically correct, thank you, Bill Clinton, is the dumbest, stupidest, most asinine thing on the face of the planet. Well, I don't want to piss anybody off. I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to offend the guy next door. I don't want to. Let me ask you parents something. Do you coddle your kids when they are bad? When they created something bad? When they performed in the wrong way in school, or when you got called into the teacher's room and the teacher said something that your kid did? Are you making excuses for your child and coddling them even though they did wrong and you know they did wrong? Oh, he just doesn't know better. I've seen infants, toddlers, a year old, 2 years old, literally have the look in their eyes that they knew what they wanted to do. They knew what they were going to do. They picked up a toy and was going to go hit another kid with it. They were going to push on another kid. They were going to grab them. They know, folks. Don't even think they don't know. They just don't know better. Yes, they do. They got you buffaloed, don't they? This government is no different. This government is treasonous, and yes, I said it. This government is treasonous. Treasonous. When they stand blocking a road, when an independent investigative journalist goes and asks them a question, what's in those trucks? What are you guys doing? You don't need to know. Yeah, we do. So he puts his car in the way of these trucks and literally stops them. Then the family comes out. And one of the family members gets thrown to the ground. And another family gets tased and pulls the taser plugs out of himself. Just pulls them out. So I don't know, folks. I mean, we can say we would stand up for liberty and freedom. We would say that we're ambitious enough to do just that, but until you get up and go do it, until you get up and look Goliath in the eye and know that the two rocks that you slung at him missed, and the third one is your last one, and that's your only hope, then, folks, we got Goliath standing in front of us, and we're down to our last pebble in our slingshot. You understand this? You got it? Does it seep into your little cranium? Do you understand what the big picture is here, folks? When Harry Reid, Senator Harry Reid, Majority Leader Senator Harry Reid says that patriots who go down to protect another citizen of the United States are domestic terrorists. Do you understand who the Goliath is in this scenario? Or do you understand that Harry Reid is just a little minion pussy that is standing there with no balls whatsoever? But when somebody jumps at him, you know how you little bully just jump at him, and when somebody jumps at him, he gets all scared and, grabs Big Brother by the hand and points, well, go beat them up, go beat them up. You see how that works, folks? You see how that works? Yeah, because none of those politicians in Washington, D.C. Well, I shouldn't say none. Okay, I shouldn't say none. Let's not blanket statement here. Okay, let's stop. Most of them don't have the balls to stand up and say enough's enough. But you had fellow citizens. You had fellow citizens pack up their stuff, take a week off from work, and go to Bunkerville, Nevada to help out a fellow citizen against Big Brother government. Hello? That is America. That is ambitious. That is intent. Okay? Remember I talked about ambition and intent? Remember that? You will not overcome anything without an intent and having that ambition. I don't like calling it ambition, but it's the only word I can think of, to step out. And then have faith that wherever you step, things are going to happen. Like the good book says, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So when Clive and Bundy through an article, when I guess he was interviewed by somebody who wrote an article at beforeitsnews.com, according to Pete Santilli. That article got to him through someone else, and he interviewed Cliven Bundy on a Tuesday. And by that afternoon, he was intent on going and being down there. And he packed up his car and went to Bunkerville, Nevada, and got there dawn of Wednesday morning. And he was the only independent journalist that was down there. The only independent journalist that was down there until the video that he made of Ammon Bundy getting tased and pulling out the tasers and all of that went viral. That was the only time that anybody else paid attention to this. So, we're ambitious. I gather. I would gather the thought and guess that we are ambitious. I know that we have good intentions, but they usually wind up being and resulting in massive nightmares. So again, who's the Goliath on the battlefield? David was a teenager. If you read the story of David and Goliath, he was a teenager. He was young. And he killed the biggest person there. That is intense. That is intent to protect. That his intent was to, or his purpose was to protect. His intent was stepping out. His faith in God put him in a position to where he was down to his last pebble. And he slung it. Okay? So when we look at this big brother government stealing our rights, yes, stealing our rights, and apparently deciding for themselves that the land that somebody sits on is theirs and they're going to tax them for every single cow that they have on that land. Not a fee, folks. A fee, any fee that you pay anywhere is a tax. Screw it. It's not a fee, it's a tax. The interchange fee, that's an interchange tax. You ever seen that on your ATM receipt? Or on your statement online? It's a tax. That's what it is. It's a tax, period. The BLM came in and, started taxing a person for being on land that he owned, that they're managing. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait, it's his land. Can't he manage it himself? I heard a great theory today because only Nevada, where I am currently at, only Nevada does the BLM own or manage, quote unquote, 84% of the land. They manage 84% of the land in Nevada. Why? The theory I heard today was because of deep underground military bases. Ooh. That's for a totally different show, isn't it? So I really have to ponder that idea, because it could be, and it's possible. Very, very possible. Could be. And there are. I mean, you can go look them up. go to your favorite search engine. I use startpage.com. And look under deep underground military bases. Oh, crap, you're going to, my God, you're going to see a whole bunch of things. Folks, I'm going to... Mr. Bob Brutus, I know you're listening to me on your end. Hello, Bob. How you doing? I'm waving. No, I'm not. Hey, Chickamauga, Georgia area. Hello. Thank Mr. Bob Brutus for bringing the views expressed to your area. And go to wakingupthemasses.com and ask Mr. Bob Brutus how you can support Waking Up the Masses Radio Network. Yes, he needs all the help he can get, folks, to keep shows like this on the air. Shows like this and Live Truth Radio with Brian Lang, he needs the help. So if there's anything that you can do for Mr. Bob Brutus, please, I'm sure he will be very, very grateful. I got a few minutes here, but if you want to help out Free America Radio Network, you can do that as well. Go to freeamericaradio.us. There is a donate button there. Yes, there is. I am the last one. Remember that movie? Go to Free America Radio Network. Go to... Scroll on down right there, and you'll see the player for Spreaker. And you can listen to the show live there as well. But down there it says contributions to this site are not tax deductible. Your support for the alternative media is important. Donate what you can. There's a donate button there. Also, we accept Bitcoin. So yes, any way you can help. If you cannot help in that regard, hey, that's okay. If there's any other way that you can help, you just let me know by emailing me at freeamericaradio@usa.com. freeamericaradio@usa.com. Free America Radio Network is changing. We're kind of retooling a few things. And I'll keep you abreast as to what those changes are. A lot of things going on. I want to give you all a high five for listening to this, and I want to wish you a great weekend. This is what is this? Good Friday. So all you Roman Catholics out there, high five. And Sunday is Easter. So I want you to know that whatever deity you pray to, if it's the good one, I want you to get closer to your family, closer to what you believe, closer to your friends. And I'll tell you what, right now, prepare yourself. Because if this thing at Bunkerville, Nevada, if it gets crazier and crazier, I just may arm up myself and go down there. Because I was born and raised in the United States of America, and it's my duty and responsibility to take care of my friends and family and my fellow citizens. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is, folks. And I'm proud to do it. So, folks, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go way down. I'm going to take this Friday and go enjoy the weekend as well. And you folks can do the same thing. Come join myself and Diana Nelson on Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Yes. At 8 o'clock tonight right here on Spreaker.com or grabbagshow.weebly.com. Hey, folks, remember this. I always like to leave you with something. Remember this. We the people have the power, for we are America.